What's happening, everybody? It is Tuesday night, 8 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. It is April 23rd, and I am happy to be here. I'm happy to have you all here. Thanks for tuning in. I don't know if y'all saw the update, or you probably saw the thumbnail because you clicked on it, but change of plans. These things happen in life. Vanessa cannot be here tonight. We will reschedule. For the record, Vanessa and I are cool. Everything between us is very, very good, and we will work out another time. So in the meantime, the show's got to go on, and with the theme of media, I think part of it is consistency and reliability. And to be really honest, like, we'll get into this, but I even think that's more important than being really good. Like, I hate to admit it. I think just showing up and doing the work. Like, there was a little, what are the little angels and demons on your shoulders? There's a little part of me that was like, Adam, it's been more than 2 years since you've missed a Tuesday night. Even when I was on vacation, even when I had guest hosts, I would come on and introduce them from wherever I was. But I'm proud of that. And that plays into, I don't know if the word is success. Like, I know I've accomplished a fair amount, but it's still not where it needs to be. It's still not, salary replacing. So there's still, it's still building, and that drive, I was going to say it eats at me, but that drives me too. But nonetheless, it took me a minute to get my head around what I would do. And then I said, you know what, I got kind of, I might not have media expertise, but I've gotten a fair amount of education and experience. So I'll at least share with you what goes through my head and the plan and the model for what I do. And in true Adam style, I decided I needed to learn something new this evening and to try something new. So I actually made slides because, as you do something more and more, you start holding yourself to a higher and more challenging standard. And this is a visual entertainment content educational platform. And if I'm only talking for an hour or an hour and a half, why make it video? Why not make it just audio only? So I put together slides tonight. So it's going to be like a full on like presentation, slides, all that. So stay tuned. Thank you for being here. Honestly, if you'll tune in for me solo, knowing that it's solo, I'm just incredibly, incredibly flattered by that. So thank you. I actually enjoy the challenge of these solo shows. If you've seen any of my solo shows before, you've heard me say this before, but I think good content, which will also be a theme tonight, but I think good content should be able to stand on its own. If you look back at my earliest videos on my channel, they're very poor quality. They look like I filmed them with a potato, but the content is good. The information is good. So I leave them all there as a historical record, but I still recommend people go check them out. So like some of my earliest videos were, how to do this, how to set up a tub, how to, use a thermostat, my tricks for getting my animals to eat frozen thawed. They're terrible quality, but they're actually some of my highest performing videos of all time, like into the tens and thousands of views. So I do think content stands on its own. What that has to do with me doing a solo show is similarly, I think music is that way. And I prefer to perform when I play music, either ideally as a duo, because then we can make some money and I get a little bit of a safety net, but a band is really fun to play with. But at the end of the day, I want to be able to get a gig and hold my own as a solo musician, because things happen, whether somebody's undependable or not. We all get sick. We all have family emergencies. We all have, a car that craps out or whatever happens. And I always wanted to be able to make sure that as long as I showed up, I could get a gig and I could get paid and I could provide for myself. And that's sort of how I feel when I challenge myself on doing these solo shows. The content should be good enough to stand on its own without the bells and the whistles. Sometimes I have really big names on the show, and sometimes I have people that I value personally immensely that aren't so popular and well-known yet, but they will be. But at the end of the day, good content should stand on its own. So I think I got good content tonight, and that's what I challenged myself to bring. So thank you all here. Thanks for being here. It's really hard for me to keep up with the comments, engage the camera, and keep an eye on my show notes. Look at that. I typed them up this week because, like I say, I put a little more pressure on myself. So if I don't see your comment, I will rewatch the show and I'll catch it on the replay. But I want to tell each of you all, thank you very, very much for being here. Ooh, Charlie with a drink in your hand. That's what I'm talking about, man. I would love a drink right now, but I actually going to hang out. And or I wanted to not hang out. Sorry, I'm trying to read the comments and now I'm all distracted. Yeah, I'll have a drink in my hand after I hang out after the show. So enjoy wherever you're coming from, unless is that what island is it? I mean, unless it's Rikers, then the drinks aren't nearly as good there at that island. But I think you're probably free and clear from there. So thanks everybody for being here. A couple announcements, and then we will. Speaking of content, we'll get right to it. No dilly-dally and banter when I'm here solo. A couple announcements from my key sponsors, and don't turn away because this isn't just a promo for the sponsors. Actually really good stuff right here. So this week, Cold Blooded Cafe, who's not actually officially a sponsor of this show, but they sponsor my Thursday morning Cup of Joe show. And then I'll show you tonight, they also sponsor one of my social media channels. So they're very, very active in my media world and in my livelihood. Matter of fact, Cold Blooded Cafe has been fantastic to me. Cold Blooded Cafe announced this week on any orders, I shouldn't say any, on most orders over $250, you're going to get free shipping. It doesn't take that much to get to $250 when it comes to rodent orders. That's great. Like, they've really, really put a lot of effort this year and into distinguishing themselves from the competition. And this is just another example of that. But their quality assurances, they have changed up their packaging a little bit or experimenting with it. If you haven't seen their new packaging, I think that you will. They're sort of beta testing it right now. And then free shipping over $250. When I said most orders, if you order enough to be considered a wholesale customer, you're not going to get free shipping on wholesale orders. But that's it. Otherwise, you're going to get free shipping over $250. And then get this. You could still apply promo codes like mine, Proper11. You're going to get 11% off and free shipping over $250. That's from Cold Blooded Cafe. If you didn't catch the headline, in the last month, they reset all the promo codes. So if you've used Proper11 in the past, or Proper10, if you've used promo code Proper11 in the past, they've reset the codes. You can use those again. Voila. There you go. Aren't you glad you tuned in? Making a little money already for you. Shedtesting.com. Charlie is moving and shaking as he always does. I think that guy works harder than me. And truth be told, there's plenty of people working hard in their entrepreneurial dreams. But one of the reasons I love Charlie is for how hard he works. 2 new tests announced this week. Genetic stripe, pretty cool. Puzzle, really cool. Because I know most people right now that are working the puzzle project, we're dealing in hets, right? Like, I get it. There's some of the early adopters, the bigger money players. The rest of us, we're dealing with some hets. We're going to be breeding hets to hets. Maybe a visual to a het. We're going to want that shed test, man. So the puzzle shed test is here. And I don't know because I don't keep up with the competition in the world of shed testing. That's not my world. I think he's the only one offering it. I could be wrong. Dad, I apologize if I'm wrong, but Charlie is absolutely offering it. Use a promo code PROPER15. You're going to get 15% off of your whole order from shedtesting.com. And then REDLINE, I'll be hanging out with Robin at the REDLINE booth, as well as around and about the show at the Denver All-American Reptile and Plant Expo. All-American Reptile and Plant Expo. VIP starts Friday night. That's in Castle Rock, Colorado, just outside of Denver. And I think I'm dreaming it's California. Do you hear that twice? I tried to say California. Castle Rock, Colorado, just outside of Denver. And All American Reptile and Plant Expo. I'll be there. I will be live streaming on some platform or another, maybe multiple platforms. I also happen to know, and I don't know where it's going to lead, but I also happen to know Robin and Brian Cusco have a new project called the REDLINE Report that they work on together. They are going to be filming and doing some broadcasting on the REDLINE Report, and you might see some crossover and some cool co-branded stuff. I don't know the details on that. It's going to be a little fly by the seat of our pants, I think, but I think that you're going to see some of that. So my 3 big sponsors, 3 big announcements. So check them out somewhere, give them support. They're really great to me. Excuse me. The other thing is that I get a little dead air when I got to talk so much, and then I have to take a sip of water. Hey, if you're going to be in Denver, put a comment in the comment section about it. I might not see it, but I want to catch up with people. I'll be out there. I'm not vending. Like I say, I'll be at the REDLINE booth and checking out the show, but I am going to bring some swag. I can bring some t-shirts. I will definitely bring some patches, which my camera can't focus on because of my eyes, but there you see it. Come get a Proper Royals patch, and let me know if you want to work out a t-shirt purchase, a swap, I don't know. Maybe we got to figure out, maybe I'll just dole some out. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe what if I did, if you're going to be there, get in touch with me, message me, leave it in the chats. Let me know your size. I'll bring, I'm going to give 5 of them away for free. How about that? You go to Denver, let me know. I'm going to bring you some t-shirts. All I'm bringing is like 1 bag with camera equipment, a few days of clothes, and some t-shirts and patches. So I can't bring my whole like supply of it. You got to get in touch with me. Let me know your size and all that. I'll get you a shirt. Okay. I get back from Denver Sunday night, and then the following weekend, which would be what, the 4th-ish, I will be vending at the Snake Discovery Show in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. So come see me there. I got some babies that are now taking all their meals and all that. They'll be ready. Some black pastel pied, black pewter pieds as well, and then a black pewter het pied for sure in that clutch. And I got some other cool stuff that'll be there. Springtime is here. I know I said it earlier, but maybe that was a fake spring because we actually got really cold again. But now we're here. And I'll tell you, one of the real secret reasons that I moved to Minnesota was actually for the morel mushrooms. It's the state fungus. How many states have a state fungus? I don't know. Maybe all of them do. I don't think that they do. But I guarantee you, none of them are as good as the fresh morel. Those of y'all that don't know, the morel mushrooms come once a year. And unlike snake babies that come once a year, but could come anytime in that year, the morels only come for about a 3-week period. And they've started popping up in Minnesota. I have not found my first one yet in Minnesota. It's still a little early. I'm going to go to Denver. I'm going to come back. And next week, if I'm not working my butt off and fingers to the bone, I'm out searching for morels and foraging. I would give up steak if I could have fresh morels every day. That's how good they are. So I'm excited for that. That is a little glimpse into my world outside of snakes. I think that's it for announcements. Next week, I got Next Level Morphs will be on the show. There's a couple different Next Level things that are out there. This is Next Level Morphs out in California. They'll be on the show next week. So come tune in for that. And we'll have a Denver wrap up and follow up as well. And this week, of course, Proper Cup of Joe on Thursday morning. Social media. Yeah, wow, 26 of y'all. Cool. If you didn't hear it to start with, thank y'all for being here tonight. We'll reschedule Vanessa. I am totally cool with Vanessa. She just cannot be here tonight. There's no real secret to social media. It's time and diligence. You're going to do it, and you're going to do it over and over and over again, and you're going to get better at it. And I've said this for a long time, and I believe it now more than ever because it still stands true, and this belief stands the test of time. YouTube, which is Google, but Google and Meta, which is Instagram and Facebook, Google and Meta's job, the only job that they have is connecting people that have some mutual overlapping interest. Otherwise, they suck at what they do. That's all that's the real, at the end of the day, they're great advertisers. Why are they great advertisers? Because they put the ad in front of the people that want to see it. That was their whole angle and leverage better. Facebook, we're going to connect you with people you know so that you feel special. That was the first thing of it. That was the root of it. So you have arguably two of the most successful companies, certainly of the 21st century and maybe the history of business, on your side. They're doing the work for you. So if you're yourself and you're diligent and you stay at it and you stay committed to it, you're going to make some kind of headway on social media. Now, I'll be the first to admit the turns and the twists that it takes, I didn't see any of it coming. I mean, let me give you the example. I really thought, you get monetized, you get some views, and you keep putting out content because at that point you're making the money. I'm going to show you tonight exactly how much money I'm making per month from both Instagram and YouTube. And I can tell you my time would be better spent peddling single gene enchies from that revenue. But the turn and the twist that it takes is the reach and the people and the community. And yes, it's marketing, and yes, it's advertisement, but it's all the other cool stuff that develops from it too. So it's really almost intangible and unquantifiable how valuable to business any sort of media presence is, and anything that you can do within your means, you should do from a business standpoint. Now, from a hobby standpoint, have fun with it. Don't feel any pressure. From a business standpoint, I don't know a better time in history that businesses can get their message out to their buyers and have tools like Meta and Google at your service for pennies. Man, the reach, I'm going to show you what I spend in advertisement and the correlated reach and the correlated revenues. That's all coming up tonight. I got that for you. So time and diligence, you really can't take many shortcuts on time and diligence. There are some, and we can talk about that, but ultimately the best relationships are going to be formed with time and diligence. So when I show you the stuff and what I've either accomplished, some of it, you might think some of it's like, well, that's not that great. I don't know, why is this guy even talking about a whole show of it? Well, you could think that. But others of it are pretty outstanding. And most of it, though, was built, August will be 3 years ago that I started this show. November was 3 years that I started the channel. So the channel's 3.5 years old now. The Tuesday night show in August will be 3 years. So coming up on 3 years on that. And I'll tell you, I mentioned it earlier, I've only ever missed one Tuesday night in 3 years. So it's taken that dedication. You got to find it. You got to stay diligent on your thing and ride the ups and the downs, see it through. And you're going to attract the people that you're going to attract your tribe, your people, the ones that want to see you and hear from you. So why social media? I think we've all covered it, I think, but it's to reach a potential audience that you're probably trying to sell something to. But let me tell you, you can gain so much from a great community around you. So even if you don't have anything that you're trying to sell, just building a community is going to make you richer in opportunities that come up, connections that you make. I see Jeremy Bod just joined the audience. This is me flying off the top of my head. I don't have this in my notes, but our connection through social media first has led to a very cool friendship that I'm incredibly thankful for, and I've learned a ton from Jeremy. He needed a guitar for one of the best auction items in Daytona history. Guess who had a guitar? We worked out a deal on that. I benefited from that. He benefited from that. We're still friends, and we're still a resource to each other. That came from just putting myself out there. And that was well before I had anything to sell. And truth be told, Jeremy wasn't buying any of the stuff I was producing back then. He's probably not buying any of the stuff I'm producing now. I'm still probably a year or two away from him wanting to buy anything from me. But we've both benefited from it. You see what I mean? Like these relationships and these communities, if you're not building that, just like going to show, build your name and your face and your brand. If you're not building those communities and those relationships, you're selling yourself short. You're missing out on it. So that's why, in my opinion, social media is so important. The more you can do, the better. And the more time and diligence you can put to it, the better. I'm going to start a little bit out of order. I'd actually thought I would jump into Instagram and YouTube first, but I'm actually going to there's one that sits on an island that's a little bit totally different. But there was this really cool aha conversation that happened in the Patreon group chat today that I want to tell you about, because it really, really illustrates why a Patreon group can be valuable. And of course, I think that the Proper Royals one is incredibly valuable. But honestly, any group that you can join that you're going to glean information from and that has a great culture that you could participate with the other members in, I actually think you should do it. I really, really think you should do it. The value you get at really low prices is very good. So hear me out for a second. Proper Royals Patreon in a nutshell. There's a $7 tier. It's $7 a month. That's basically, you're going to participate in our group chat. You're going to get dibs on animals as they come out first, and you get to be part of the community. And you go, well, okay, that's fine, but I could chat with anybody anytime I want to, and it doesn't cost me $7. You're right, you can. But hear me out, because I'm going to give you a perfect example today of an aha moment. $35 tier, that money all turns into store credit. You get every penny of that back. I eat the fees. So it actually costs me money, technically speaking. Let's not BS each other. Of course, I'm producing snakes that are nearly all profit. So me eating the fees isn't that bad of a deal for anybody involved. So you're building store credit. You get dibs ahead of the $7 tier. And then there's a $100 tier that likewise builds credit. I eat all the fees on that. It's all credit returned to you. And there's some one-on-one components, consulting, that kind of thing, and all the chats and the access that goes with that. Great. What's this aha moment you're talking about, Adam? Well, what happens is the Patreon members, they start doing business with each other. Who's got this? Who's got that? One breeder or one member is breeding ASFs that he bought from another member. Two of them are teaming up to vend at the Tampa Repticon. When somebody else gets a clutch of animals, I'm not going, no. Nobody sells anything here but Adam. No, you have people that you've been talking about that are a close audience, and all of that goes into it. And I think that's on any Patreon, and I think that's very, very cool. And it gives you resources when you travel, people to go hang out with at shows that you might not have known of before, grab dinner, drinks. They're going to introduce you to their network. All of that. In Denver, I'm having dinner with the Patreon member, Trevor, at Ball Labs. But turns out, some other pretty cool people are going to be there from his network that I'm excited to get to meet. So today in the Patreon, we're chatting about wholesale opportunities. And it comes up, wholesale is great, but you don't always want 5 or 8 or whatever the minimum order of snakes is per order when you want to buy something wholesale. And it was like this aha moment of, hey, you guys want to get together and be a group buying power? I want 2 snakes from this seller. Anybody else find 2 or 3 or 1? And like 3 people were like, yeah, I see 2. I see 1. All right, we're over 5. And then it got to, wait a minute, we think that there's 9 collectively. Could we put in an offer that if we're going to take 9 snakes at wholesale off of this person, would they sweeten the wholesale deal? Well, like that came out of nowhere. I didn't draw that up. I didn't know that that's what I would start Patreon for. Like we just created a whole new business model just hanging out in the Patreon. That $7 membership entry fee, boom, gets paid for right there. You see, that's just one example of some of the things. So I think even if you're not comfortable starting your own media, by participating in a Patreon or some sort of group chat. There's a lot of regional group chats. I know the guys out in Pennsylvania, they got their own like regional group chat that they're always on. Find a way to join one of these things. And group chats are tough for me. I have to turn the notifications off, all the bangs and the bells, but staying active. There's always been such a thing as networking, and this is it in the 21st century. So that is the sort of Patreon thing that's out on an island on its own. I film a Patreon only video every Thursday. I post that. We stay focused on business. If you have specific questions in the Patreon, you can ask me. And I'm pretty transparent, but I'm uber transparent in the Patreon. I just did a video on every penny of revenue I've ever done in the past 5 years on Patreon. So there's that. So a little bit of a Patreon pitch for Proper Royals, but really the idea of join a community, because whatever the entry fee is, the access you're going to get is going to be incredible. There's almost as many Patreons as podcasts, you know what I'm saying? So find one that's cool. And I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to all of the Proper Royals Patreon members. So I really appreciate you guys. Yeah, Leviathan Snakes. Yeah. That first old fashioned, that's going to be on you, okay? Right here. How cool was that idea though, right? Suddenly we have a community buying power that we can distribute among ourselves however we want. Like, I know shipping isn't cheap, but say it's $70. If you're getting 50% off of an $800 snake and you got to pay an extra $50 to ship it a second time, great. You were still way ahead, right? I love it. So those are things that like evolve in a Patreon. Yeah, Jeremy says nobody should ever see our PA group chat. I only witnessed it one evening, and it was entertaining. I will say that. I don't know how much. I guess I learned some stuff that night too, but I don't know that it was ball python or reptile related. But it is a good community nonetheless. So those are some of the things that come up in a Patreon. Now back to the a little bit more traditional social media world, and let me give a disclaimer. This is my experience. This is my perception and my crazy world. There are people far more educated on the topic than I am, but I will tell you, this is bootstrapped. This is me figuring it out. This was me. And I had a lot of help along the way. Don't get me wrong. But there are more expert advisors out there. I would absolutely say that Steven at Leviathan, he's been a great friend and at times a good mentor to me when it comes to this kind of stuff. So this is one man's take. Jeremy Warfels does a whole different model. He's got his own style. He's got his own show. He's got his own membership that I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about YouTube memberships. So we're just scraping I mix up analogies. I was going to say like scraping the surface of the iceberg. That's too many sayings you get what I'm saying though. Scraping the surface of the iceberg. Okay. Instagram and Facebook. Let's talk about those two first. I'll talk a little bit about YouTube, but then we'll dive into YouTube later. If you imagine sort of different circles of a target, and if we imagine that they all served a different purpose, YouTube is like the most intimate, I wrote a word down. Where is it? Refined. That's the word I'm looking for. Refined relationships. Like you guys know what you're getting when you come to the Proper Royal show. I know 80% of you at any given time, if not 90 to 100. Like we've built our relationships. We know each other. This is a highly refined, curated group of people. And you have come here with the product that you've come to expect. And that's why you come here. So there's 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. I actually value those 3,000 subscribers at just about the highest level when it comes to a per subscriber basis. Using that mindset, Instagram is less refined, less intimate, if you will. That's a weird word to use when it comes to social media relationships, but from a business customer content creator consumer standpoint, Instagram is a little less intimate, but it still provides the opportunity, especially with DMs, to really get to know your customers and your client base. But it has a massive reach. It actually reaches farther than YouTube does on a sort of effort per effort, apples to apples basis. For 2 to 3 minutes of really good effort, but 2 to 3 minutes of effort on Instagram, I will reach far more people, quicker than I ever will on 2 or 3 minutes of effort on YouTube. There's exceptions, there's things that go viral, but as far as day-to-day expectations, if I put effort into YouTube, it better be a very concise message for a very, very specific audience that expects a very specific thing. On Instagram, it's kind of like throwing chum in the water and seeing what comes to the surface. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the distinction that I would think of the two. So I do 2 pieces of content a week on YouTube, but on Instagram, I might do 10 or 12 or 15 pieces per week. And it's still less effort than I'm going to put into one show tonight. I'll tell you that much. So the reach and the value proposition of Instagram is fantastic. Now, who it's reaching, and is it the very specific high caliber, high grade, refined consumer that I want to be in touch with? No, but I'm getting thousands of them. So in that thousands, I'm probably reaching the people that I want to reach. So with that in mind, I thought I would show you a couple things. And I actually have 2 Instagram pages. You all might not know that because one of them is Proper Royals. The other was sort of an experiment that's evolved. But for a show like tonight, that's a really, really great thing to dive into. Yeah, Jim at Straight Blast says, YouTube is the best, in my opinion. It actually builds a community. It does. There's substance in YouTube. But sometimes you just want people that like a picture of a snake and suddenly inquire it. And community helps that, but it's not always needed. So I think both have a place is really where I kind of feel like on that. What's up, Jessica? Thanks for tuning in. I get to meet Jessica this weekend. That's pretty cool. Not in a creepy way. Sorry, Jessica. You're probably like, yeah, and I'm out of dinner. See ya. I'm looking forward to hanging out. So Instagram pages. Let me show you my Proper Royals Instagram slide. These slides didn't go quite the way that I wanted to, but you're going to get the idea here. They didn't scale exactly how I wanted, but they did all right. I got a neat little border and outline on them. I thought did okay. So my Proper Royals Instagram page, and I don't have a pointer that I can use to show you. So we're just going to talk through this. 7,400 followers. Fantastic. That's a lot of people. And I do, as much as I was saying that it's not quite as refined of an audience, and it's not, that audience is still pretty precise. Everything on Proper Royals page is ball python business related. Rarely do I post anything that's not business related. And I'm talking maybe 3-4 times a year that I'll post something that's not ball python or ball python business related. So really, really focused, stay on task, stay on the focus so that the algorithm knows what to do with your content. 7,000 followers. And if you look here, professional dashboard, it says I've reached about 11,000 accounts in the last 30 days. That's a pretty good reach. Now, that's not a number of views. That's just accounts reached. So on one side, 11,000 people could watch one reel 3 times, and that would get 30,000 views. On the other hand, a reel could get 3,000 views, but only reach 2,000 accounts. So the professional dashboard is the number of accounts that I've reached. Okay. It doesn't define the level of engagement of each of those accounts, but I have reached those accounts. Pretty cool. And that's the one that is super like, well, like I say, I've got another page I'm going to show you in a minute, but that page is super tied to Adam, who is Proper Royals in the ball python business. That's that page. That's that mission statement of that page. That's what everything that gets posted there has to come back to. So I post there quite regularly. Today I posted 3 pieces of content. Those top 3 content pieces are from today. Yesterday I posted 2 pieces of content. So I'm very, very active on that. Now, this other page, if you haven't seen it before, I'll tell you the background of it. I used to actually use a social media consultant. And at the time, if you remember, there still is a guy, Justin Brill, and he still has a page, Stone Age ball pythons. He was going bonkers, going viral. And me and this social media consultant, it was kind of a little inside bet to see if we could copy that, is what we wanted to do. I was like, man, I want a viral page. What does it take? And then, so we set out to do that, and it actually took it went very well. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. But what we found was that immediately at that same time, the Reels bonus ended. And we had this page with all these followers that wasn't particularly curated. It really didn't have a mission and a vision. And I didn't know who the people were. And at that point, I said, man, what's the value of this page? I don't think there's any value to it, because, like, who's the audience? So we actually wiped it clean and started to put all it went back to all Proper Royals content. It was basically became like a greatest hits channel, which is pretty fun. 2-3 years of Instagram, you could pick what hits and then repost it, kind of deal. Which is pretty neat. So that was cool to be able to do. And eventually what happened is I partnered with Cold Blooded Cafe on it. So let me show you that page, and we're going to dive into that in just a second. That page is called Proper Pythons. If you haven't seen it before, it's proper_pythons_, and you'll see that it has 140,000 followers on this first arrow in the middle. And this other arrow on the right, if you look at, it's branded to Cold Blooded Cafe. That's part of our advertising arrangement. And with that advertising arrangement came that I would post a lot of their content and a lot of Desiree's Mrs. Monitor's content. So I was able to build their, Desiree's the owner of Cold Blooded Cafe, those of you that don't know. I was able to build their family of brands as well, and sort of a rising tide lifting all ships, which was fantastic. So what happened was this month, a new little thing came around, but I'm going to tell you, if you look at the red circle, that page has reached 634. I love when people have comments like this, when they're like, I was wondering who that was on this page. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, Sarah came running to my service one evening. She's like, somebody is stealing your content. And I'm like, it's me. But I don't necessarily think that it represents Proper Royals to the specificity that I want it to. So it has a different purpose, right? So if you look at the red circle, 634,000 accounts reached. That is a hell of a reach. And the mission and the content on it is heavily ball python focused, but it is also monitors other snakes from the Reptech, Miss Monitor, and Cold Blooded Cafe family of brands and family of businesses that they work with as well. So some of their partners actually boost some of their stuff on that too. And in that reach came the value. That's where the value is now on that page. What happened with that 634, I could tell you 98% of that, probably, maybe not 98, pretty high percentage, 95%. I was probably reaching 40 to 50,000 people a month up until April came, and they brought back the Reels bonus. Dun, dun, dun. And I got invited to join the Reels bonus on it. And I said, man, it's time to put the pedal down. So I went back and curated all of my greatest hits, all the greatest hits that I could find, from Cold Blooded Cafe, from Mrs. Monitor, from RepTech. And we have been consolidating and curating them all to that page. So 600 and I can't see it actually, 634,000 accounts reached, over 1 million views. If you were here just a moment ago, the accounts reached does not equate to views. So I actually went through manually this afternoon and counted all the views of each reel. I don't know what the still pictures are, but only very few still pictures on there. So maybe it's a little bit north of this, but on reels, 1.159 million. So 1,159,000 views since April 1st, when I got the notification that I was invited into the Reels bonus program. And I know, because we're all curious, hey, Adam, in a Reels bonus, what does 1 million views pay? I don't have sound effects. Slides were all I could come up with this evening. Here you go. $40.87. The value in social media is very, very rarely in the ad revenue. I mean, you have to get into the hundreds of millions of views. Yeah, Sarah Sundog Serpents, Patreon member. She goes, those are great numbers. And then she sees the dollar amount and the laughter and the tears start coming. The value in social media is who you reach and how you reach them. And are they a target customer? It's very rarely going to be from clicks and views. You would have to get to somebody faster at math would, so that was one. So what, 10 million would get you $400. I mean, that's pretty good, but let me tell you, I put a lot of work into that $40. The work I put in was not for the $40. The work I put in was for the value to the sponsor, who, as far as I know, we're very happy in the relationship. I'm providing for them. They're providing for me. I'm happy with the compensation. They're happy with the results. We stay in touch fairly often on these things, but I know that they are very, very happy with that reach, knowing that their message is getting out there. And I can't scroll through the screen, but if you were to go down, you would see a whole lot of cold-blooded branding on the videos. Those of y'all that were concerned that somebody was stealing my content, were rightly concerned at one point. Hey, somebody's stealing your content and they're sticking their logo on it. No, I did that. That's an arrangement. That's our deal. So that is one way that a social media page can bring value to you. Of course, out of respect to that sponsor and all my sponsors, I'm not going to, there's only so much transparency I can provide. I'm not going to get into the details of that value and that arrangement. I could tell you there's no question it's worth me maintaining and continuing to produce. I love sending Cold Blooded Cafe, Desiree and Chris screenshots like this. It's wonderful. And here's the thing. Not all those people are in America. Not all those people are going to be reptile owners. Not all those people are going to buy frozen thawed rodents. But when you're reaching 600,000 people, even if 1% of those are the target audience, you are, that's 6,000 curated, targeted, captive audience people that you want. So that's the argument. That's the pitch. That's where it brings value for them. So there's two examples of different ways to utilize Instagram. So proper pythons, nearly no community. I like I said, you all saw, you didn't know who even was the operator of the page. Turns out it's Adam that you've been hanging out with on Tuesday nights. Sorry, here's another snapshot of the media, and you could see this one has the views place. So there's a 13,000 in there, a 3,000, a 4,000. Oh yeah, I got my little rodent operation that I could throw some hits in from. Look at that, 4,000 views there on proper pythons is about more than I get in a month on proper rodents. So again, it reaches a farther, greater expanse. Does it convert? Is it the people? I don't know. Proper pythons is a very, very wide net and not a very well focused target. Proper royals, me, my baby, the flagship, the mothership, the North Star. I'm eternally grateful for the 7,400 followers, because I know, philosophically, I know who those people are. And most of them are, most of you all in this room are in that audience there. So there's two different examples of ways to utilize Instagram, and sort of side by side. I don't know how to show two slides at once. Oh, maybe I can. Could I literally do that? No. One at a time. That's it. Okay. So there you go. Two examples, nearly side by side, not literally, figuratively side by side, of what goes on with Instagram and two different ways to use it. I think it's pretty blatantly obvious that the Proper Royals Instagram is built to build a community, but it's also, I sell a fair amount of snakes on there. And there's the challenge of, how do you sell without saying something's for sale? You're not, clear warning, you're not allowed to sell live animals on Instagram. It's a violation of terms of service. So how do you present a product that somebody could be interested in inquiring about? Hey, there you go. So think that through. The convenient thing of, I'm going to leave this up for just a moment. The convenient thing of Instagram is that it funnels so nicely into Facebook. I know the word on the street is that Facebook is dead and useless. I want to tell you, I beg to differ, and I have some stats to show you that it's not dead. So this is my Facebook Proper Royals page. If you look at the arrow here, what does it say today? 610, maybe 616. Sorry, these slides are not, hopefully you could see them better than I can. I apologize if you're looking at this on your phone, because it's be impossible to see. 610 followers on Facebook Proper Royals. Drop in the bucket, right? 600. Woo. I'll tell you, most of those are local here in Minnesota. Oh, okay. Let's say most 300 plus local market. Most of, myself included, most of us aren't going to sell 300 snakes in a year. So if I have a local market, captive audience, maybe not captive. Okay, is that right? We're engaged audience. How about that? Of 300 plus local people. All of my single picture media from Instagram posts automatically to Facebook. None of my reels do. I don't post any reels to Facebook. I probably could and should, but I feel like most of the people that either are breeders or striving to be breeders are probably engaged with me on Instagram or Morph Market. So Facebook is for those people that aren't engaged in ball python Instagram, may or may not be familiar with Morph Market, and probably are hobbyists rather than aiming to be pet owners. And I think we all know from all of our both wholesale conversations and, basic pairings that we hit sometimes on our misses, it's a great outlet if you can have an active audience that is looking for those animals. It's great. It's wonderful to sell a normal for 40 or 50 bucks that somebody will come to you to pick up. You don't have to deliver anything. And it just sells on your local market or your local targeted market on Facebook. It's fantastic. I think, and I know there's the arguments of, oh, the time and the space and this and that. I get it. I'm just saying it's better than a $15 wholesale sale or a $10 wholesale sale. Because honestly, locally, I'd like to build customers. I would build a customer base locally that could potentially become a repeat buyer any day over the $10 or $15 wholesale outlet. So that's just me. It's my experience and it's my place. This is a big metro area here. I think Rick one time said it was a little bit over 3 million, maybe even looking towards 4 million people here in the Twin Cities. So my still pictures from Instagram flow to Facebook. So if you go back, and because sometimes people are like, you know, oh, that's so basic. Why would you even post that? And she Candino. Hey, guess what? Instagram, you might not be interested in it if, you know, your day-to-day wake up and tub check is a sunset. You know who is interested in it? The person that doesn't know the difference between a sunset and a Candino and thinks that's a really cool snake that can actually afford that one. And I don't mean to be defiant. I'm not shitting on sunset or anybody that works sunset. It's just what came to my mind. Or monsoon or whatever. Everything has its place. And the fact is I have these animals in my collection. Plus I think that they're great. That Candino is going to keep its color. It's going to keep, it's not going to get spots all over it. It's going to be eye catching forever. Passes the grandma test forever. Thumbs up on that. I love it. So when people go, oh, why would you post? I think I posted oh yeah, right there in the bottom right corner. There's a leopard double het male. Oh, why would you post that, Adam? Because it's a cool animal and maybe somebody can use it and it looks cool. Well, they don't know what double het is. They can ignore it or whatever. So that is really how I use Facebook as far as content. I will do some Facebook only posts, but probably 90% of the content on Facebook is just a trickle down redundant post from Instagram, which also brings value. I don't know if you guys notice, I tag my sponsors in most of my posts, so they get reposted to Facebook and then it gets that reach as well. What I really like on Facebook and what's become like this magic, not magic, secret weapon, and it's not even secret because I talk about it all the time. I think people just don't, look at this. I swear to God, this just popped up in my notifications. That top one is not going to focus. I noticed a post about a female black pastel on Facebook. Is she for sale? If so, how much is she? I swear to God on my family, that just came up right now. I'm telling you, that stuff works. It trickles down. That I promise you is a local. I don't know for sure. I assume that. So I don't know that for sure. Actually, I assume that's a local contact though. Crazy. I got to pay. Clearly the check cleared that I sent to her to send that on time. That's a joke. What I do though, is once a week, I make a post on Facebook, super grandma, those are, I refer to the grandma test. It means if a grandma walks by your booth that doesn't know anything about ball pythons, she goes, ooh, what is that? We're talking pieds, bright yellows, vivid colors, high contrast, all the cool stuff. If the stuff that's cool, if you know nothing about genetics and you're just like, man, that's cool. It sells. It's the bedrock of my business at the moment. I don't always want it to be because it is hard work, but it is the bedrock of my business at the moment. Man, I'm pumped. That inquiry came just, I swear I didn't plant that. I didn't make that up. Nothing, man. I think it's fantastic, man. So, oh, there you go. Morphic Exotics. I hope this helps. Now, again, if you'd missed the beginning of the show, man, time and diligence is what's going to pay off. But once a week, I go to, I make a post. I'll put 5 pictures up, total grandma test animals, pieds, Candinos, lavenders. Oh, those crush it. Black pastel Candino. Yeah, that'll move. Of course, bananas, always going to be a hit, especially here in the land of snake discovery. I mean, we're at the mothership of snake discovery. I got, people eat up bananas. And I love them. I still love working with them. And for the record, I got an inquiry today on a high-end banana that hasn't even been on my morph market in about a month. Somebody going, hey, do you still have that animal? Or did you move it to the holdback rack or did you sell it? And I was like, I got it. Let's talk. So you can make money on bananas too. Anyway, I post 5 pictures all in one post, and then I write some sort of timely post, but that gets the message across that I'm located in Northfield, Minnesota, that I serve the Twin Cities, Rochester, which is about 60 miles from the Twin Cities, and La Crosse, which is about 60 miles another direction from the Twin Cities, that I serve all of those metro areas. I don't exactly explain what that means because I'm not necessarily going to deliver to those areas, but for the right price, I will. And then I put, send inquiries if you want to find out more. And you could do that on Facebook ads. They give you a choice of have people call you, have people message you, or I forget what the third one is. I don't know what the third one would be. Doesn't matter. I do message, and they could click right in the post and they click on it. And I pay $15 a week is what I pay for this. And I sell snakes every week. It pays for itself quite a lot. But let me add some actual details, not just anecdotal storytelling. Here you go. If you look, this is my ad center summary. If you look, Adam Shira spent, I don't know if there's any personal information on it. If there is, don't dox me or whatever. I don't think that there is. Adam Shira spent $105 on 7 ads in the past 60 days. Look, 6,000 views on somebody faster at math can do all the stuff. Post engagements. That means people hovered over it, made a comment, liked it, something. 456 people engaged for $105. So that's going really well. Then the link clicks is where they're finding out about either what's in the link. That might be my morph market link, or it could be my at properroyals. So it could be clicking on it, take them to the homepage that you just saw. And then messaging conversations that are actually almost always inquiries. 32 inquiries. If you could pay $3 for an honest inquiry, which is 105 divided by 32 is around $3, so 3 and change. Would you do that? Now, I hear you, because I was really cynical about marketing. That's a tiny amount of money to when you figure that I will tell you, my average snake sale is right around $319. Last year ended at $326. This year's just a little bit lower. So essentially I'm paying 1% of the revenue to get a legitimate inquiry onto the sale of a snake, to start a conversation. I'll do that all day long. I think most big companies spend way more than 1% on advertising. And I think that they should. How else are you going to stand out in a sea of great breeders, of other people working this hard, of you all maybe going, whoa, I didn't realize Adam was grinding that hard. Yeah, I'm the dude waking up going, how am I going to get that sale today? That's what I'm doing. But how cool is this? $15. It's all right there. So 7 ads in the last 60 days. And you could see I've just about used up all my money on that last ad, like 24 cents left on that. Carlos, if you're coming to the Denver show, shoot me a message in your shirt size. I'll bring you one, brother. So that is the Facebook machine. Let me check my notes here, because I got kind of going along there. Yeah. So that's a big snapshot of it. I want to talk about other media here in just a second. Let me clear this. Let me show you something else that I figured out this week. Oh yeah, yeah, perfect. I know Sarah and Josh at Sundog Serpents had experimented this. I didn't know if our ad was working until a customer told us at the show that they came because they seen us on Facebook. Boom, that's worth $15 there, right? And those of y'all that have asked questions along the way that I've missed, I apologize. I'm trying to keep my notes. I'm trying to run screens. I'm trying to engage the camera. It's a solo show. How fun, right? Carlos, medium, I'll take, man. Please, medium. There you go. So I'll show you this. Look at this. I figured out the old problem of my sponsors don't have their little action on here, right? Watch this. Bam! There we go. We talked about REDLINE and shed testing earlier. Charlie now has a puzzle genetic stripe test. I will be in the Denver show at the REDLINE booth this weekend. Come hang out. There will be some sort of media being broadcast live between me and Cusco and the REDLINE report page. Good stuff will be going on. Come hang out. RGen Reptiles has been a great supporter. That is Robbie Richard out in Greer, South Carolina. He is working a fairly small focused collection, but check this out. DG, Pied, Clown, single, double, triple combos with the dark genes. So we're talking Blackhead and Stranger and single, double, triples of DG, Pied, and Clown. Speaking of Colorado, Ball Labs, that's Trevor out in Aurora, Colorado. We're going to go hang out there, talk about building a community. Guess who gave me a call, I don't know, a week or so ago? Adam, we having dinner or what? Bet we are. Trevor at Ball Labs in Aurora, Colorado. He's working puzzle, Ultramel, Clown, VPI Xanthic, and Tri-Stripe. Trevor's been keeping reptiles for 20 years, breeding ball pythons for over 15. He's also selling rodents in Colorado the legal way, the right way. He is one of the licensed sellers of rodents. You do have to have a license out there in Colorado to do that. He's doing it the right way. I like it when people do things the right way. And go check him out. He's a great guy. I'm looking forward to hanging out this weekend. I hope you're wearing your shirt because I have no idea what you look like, but I will recognize you with the mad scientist on your shirt. You can't miss the shirt either. It is, I mean, you could work a road construction crew with that shirt on, right? Also, Trevor asked me not to tell anybody. He's working Monsoon, Zebra, and Sunset as well. Check out all of the sponsors' information is down below. Portuguese Pythons, that's Danny and Renee Rocha out in, where are they at? They're in Chino, California. Just outside of LA, San Bernardino area. Great folks. They are working some cool high-end single, double, triple projects. I have a 1.3 Ultramel Pied project from them with Blackhead, Mojave, and Trick in the mix. How cool is like that's a ready-made project for 5 years, 10 years right there. Just the 1.3 of those. I know that they just had a clutch of super Blackhead Ultramels as well. If you're into some double homozygous, powerful animals that are beautiful as well. They're wonderful people. And if you get a chance to get a hold of one of their shirts, some of the best, most comfortable, just they got the good shirts, man. I'm telling you. Last but not least is my partner in crime at Tinley and among other places, Chris at B and S Reptilia. It's Reptilia because he specializes in a variety of species. He is always after the next species that he's going to breed, and he's highly educated and experienced with all of those species. So ball pythons, of course, but locality boas, colubrids, Pituophis, if that means anything to you, bull snakes, pine snakes. He is also the Pennsylvania distributor of the chipper. And I can assure you, as a person that's lived in Florida and Minnesota while working with Chris, if you need to get the chipper outside of Pennsylvania, he's either going to tell you who to get it from, or he's going to make sure you get it himself. So he's a great dude. He's been a great friend, a great business partner. Very first sponsor on Proper Royals, still here. That's what good relationships are about. That's where good business happens. So go check these folks out. They're the ones that take care of me and make this possible for me to keep coming at you with content every week. And thanks for being here. If you're just tuning in, I apologize. I got to run solo tonight. Things happen sometimes. And I'm actually having a pretty fun time. Put together a cool show. Took the time to write one out. I know that it doesn't really focus that well. One more segment to go. I'm running out of steam. One of the things about doing a solo show is it takes a whole lot more effort to keep going and make sure there's not dead air. But thank you all for being here. Like I say, stick around. I got another segment coming your way. All of the sponsors info is down below in the description. I hope you check them out, as well as the Proper Royals LinkTree. If you missed the beginning of the show, go back and rewatch it. There's some cool aha moments in the opening section, particularly about Patreon, where we dug into that topic. Other media. I'm kind of a proven bread and butter kind of guy. When I invest in basically an S&P 500 index fund. I have some computer algorithm managing my life stages, and it's moving things from stocks to bonds as I grow older every year or hit a new benchmark. What I'm saying is I don't fiddle around with a whole lot of new stuff. I'm fairly risk averse. I like things to be proven before I adopt them. I am one to explore. I owned quite a lot of Ethereum at one point. I am a believer in the concept and the philosophy of a digital blockchain. I won't bore anybody with my whole spiel on that, but seriously, money that we fold up in little pieces of paper with no trace. I mean, that's helpful if, in business, I get it. Otherwise, there's nothing good about that. Like, this is the 21st century. Things should be digital. Anyway, just one man's opinion. I only bring that up because I'm largely, I want things proven and not experimental. But every now and again, there's some cool stuff. One of the cool things is for a very low risk, and I'm becoming more and more of a believer in marketing and advertising and having my brand out there. On top of the work that I put in bootstrapping it, doing the show like this, it costs me time. It doesn't cost me anything else. You could buy logo placements on Morph Market now. I don't know if that's good or bad, but man, you see my logo, you could click on it, it goes right to my store. Very low barrier or very low friction, we call it. Friction would be, in a business sense, would be the resistance the customer has to being able to give you money. In a restaurant, wait at the door, that's friction. Bad parking before they even get in the building, friction, not good. So very low friction. They're at Morph Market. They're in the mall, so to speak. You just click on Adam, and Adam's going to conveniently pop up for some number of them. I don't know how it works. I haven't seen it, and I don't, it's not like a peruse Morph Market when I log out and see if my logo pops up, but I have seen other people's logos pop up. I don't know if you guys know that you could do that for $10 a month. So I'm spending $15 a week on Facebook, which is this weird, scary world of people that like, Candinos. Or for $10 a month, 15 a week, so 60 a month I'm spending on that and having really good results, happily so. I could spend $10 a month on Morph Market with, if you're on Morph Market, you're my people. So I actually found that value proposition very intriguing. Now, I only did that 4 nights ago, so I have no idea if it works. I have not seen it. I haven't gone looking. If you guys have seen my logo on Morph Market pop up in like the results or whatever, when you're scrolling, let me know if you've seen that around. I have no idea if it's out there. Okay. Sarah says it shows us our own logo. Did you pay for that? Let me know. Not that I'm going to be mad or disappointed either way. They took my money, so I mean, they're doing something with it. Maybe drinking a pina colada with it, but they're doing something with it. So I suspect that my logo is out there somewhere. So I thought that was interesting as an alternative option of media. Like I say, there's a whole lot that I don't know about. There's YouTube memberships. There's something I think that I hear all the time is Discord. I'm not active on Discord, man. I got a lot going on and I don't know. I'm always weighing what's going to give the best return. And the best return isn't necessarily always dollars. Dollars help, don't get me wrong. But is it going to give you the best return on community? I've heard that maybe my Patreon chat should be on a Discord. I don't know. I got to go experience it. Okay. So Josh, they are paying for it. All right. Well, maybe I'll check it out. Scales and Such says, Morph Market has this fun game called Auction. That's right. Look, it's engaging. I haven't used it, and actually I haven't used it as a seller or a buyer yet, but Jessica has really headed up the industry on auctions outside of Morph Market. And I think that's a fantastic, it was a really great aha moment. And I'm paraphrasing her here. So let me make sure that if I misrepresent this, my apologies. It's actually a really great service for people that don't have a platform that I might have worked so hard to curate, or don't have the time, or have a day job that, like, you got to live. Like, how are you going to keep the lights on? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have time to build a YouTube page. Oh, right. I get it. I said it took time and diligence. If you don't have those two things for very valid reasons, that's okay. Auctions with people like Jessica and Jeremy Warfels started doing it as well. And there's a ton of them out there. That could be a very valuable resource for somebody to move their animals. So I am a fan of them. And I think these things all have a place in our industry. The other thing is a little bit more bootstrap media platforms is, I don't know if it's media, but it's putting yourself out there. Just go to shows and meet people. I was up at Joe's place, the JSA Reptiles, doing some business yesterday. And we commented that there's a breeder that we both know that we haven't seen out and about. And we're like, man, what's he doing? We know he's breeding. We know he's got animals. There's a great show. There's a great scene here. Maybe it's that stuff going on. We don't know. It doesn't matter really, other than we both felt like he could have been getting his face, his name, his shirt, come shake hands, come hang out with Joe, come, all those things that you can do networking. So you could do that. Be a guest on a podcast if you get an opportunity to. It's a weird thing because, like, you don't want to just ask to be on one, because that's kind of hard and can be off-putting, especially if somebody comes with a big agenda. That's really tough for me to deal with. On the other hand, I saw a post yesterday, somebody saying, just putting it on YouTube, on Instagram, saying, hey, I'd love the opportunity to be on a podcast. I'll make myself available. I kind of, with very few exceptions, have a rule that I generally won't turn down and I say interview, but really just an appearance. I'll do it. Like, what more do I have to do other than get this logo out there? So I think that's a very valuable thing. Now, I would say you should have at least there not be conflict between your brand and the brand of the show that you're going on. Nothing's perfect and everybody gets to be an individual. There are some that I would not go on, but in general, I'll put myself out there. And then I think there's really, really cool, actually things that I'm a little bit jealous of. Matt and Kendra at Ebony and Ivory, they just had a news segment done about them, about their birthday parties and educational parties and events that they do and the outreach that they do. What a brilliant thing. You got a news channel broadcasting you, and like, what's better than seeing this big Marine holding a tegu with 14 kids around them that want to check it out? Hell yeah. Like, that's people are going to watch that. They're going to see that. I think that's brilliant. And I think that however he managed to line that up is great. Epic Style. First, don't leave yet. I'm about to give you a little shout out too. First off, safe travels to you as well, Chris. Chris, I don't know how he did it. How crazy is this? There's a guitar pedal company that is like legit, like big, maybe not gold standard, but silver standard for sure, flirting with gold standard of pedals in the industry. And they put out a pedal, I think called the Lizard King, but maybe Lizard Queen. And anyway, they needed a whole bunch of lizards in their ad promo. And Chris gets to show up with his lizards to do guitar pedal promos when, oh man, I was jealous. I got to admit, like I was jealous. Brilliant, man. It was fantastic. And I think you've done more than one as well. So there's some really like, ingenious ways to get out there. I have one that's floating out there. When I first got to Minnesota, I'm a big believer in like, hey, may as well try something because maybe nobody else is willing to try it. So actually two things now that I'm thinking along those lines, but the one in particular I'm thinking of was a local PR company does a pro bono sort of docu-series called American Faces. And they said, hey, who's got an interesting story that would be, you know, basically they just take everyday people and really dig in and find neat things about them. And I was like, well, you know, I just moved to Minnesota from Florida and I've got about 200 snakes in my basement and I'm leaving one career, hoping to make this my new career. And the guy was like, we'll be there, man. So it normally was like a blog with like a photographer and then an essayist. It's very cool. But he said, man, this is the perfect thing for me to partner with a videographer. So I had a photographer and a videographer here with all the lights and the things and all of that. And we did a long interview and then we moved down here to the facility and did a really pretty thorough show and tell. And the guy was terrified of snakes and he held a snake and all that footage exists, but that was back in early November. And I think what's happened is that those two have had some creative differences. I don't know that for sure. And I'm assuming, I'm filling in the blanks. I've not heard that from either one of them, but it was funny. When I did the filming, they were like, say American Faces 92, say American Faces 93. And I went from like 92 to 96 because he was like, I don't know which episode will be yours, but we'll get it. It'll take a little time. So he had me film all of them. Well, I think they're beyond all the numbers that I said. And I don't know that that's ever going to come to light. So now I'm like, I'm still going to let it be, but I got to reach out to them. If it's dead, I might even see about buying the footage and the rights to it and seeing how I can repurpose it. It's not every day that you get a professional photographer and professional videographer with professional equipment in here doing what they were passionate about at the time. So I'm going to figure out what to do one way or another. I want that footage to come to light and be put to use. I was pretty proud of it. And I thought they did a great job at the time. So it's going to need to be edited. And I don't know if I'm the guy for that or I could learn it or whatever, but that's out there. So that's kind of neat. And then this last piece really isn't a media piece, but it trickles off of it ties into what I was just saying. I think sometimes things are worth trying just because other people won't try. They just won't put the work in. They're just not going to do it. Like, we're going to talk about Facebook ads. How many of y'all are going to go do it? I don't know. Not that many. That's okay. That's fine. I'll take the inquiries. It's cool. There is a entrepreneur. They call it a contest. It's put on by the University of Minnesota Business School at the Carlson, I think. Carleton. There's a Carleton College, but I think it's Carlson Business School. Anyhow, hundreds of thousands of dollars of grants and prize money, as well as venture capital opportunities, which is no venture capitalists. You know, I'm not going to go on Shark Tank. You know, they're not going to invest in me. I'm not worried about that. But grant money and prize money, okay, let me take a shot at it. So I go look at the categories and they got everything from, you know, eco tech and food commerce and international logistics. And then they have this other category called other for service and retail primarily. I'm pretty interesting when it comes to service and retail. So I went through it, and it turned out to be an intricate, pretty difficult application and exercise, but I found value in doing it. And I have no idea what the deadline to submit was just last week, and we didn't even find out who gets to advance for another 6 weeks. So it's another one of those, like, I'll forget about it, and then I'll get an email one day, and I'll either advance or they'll be like, yeah, good luck in your little snake game playground thing. So we'll see. I think I represented myself very well writing it, but I have no idea. I've never done anything like that before. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on media. What did I miss? What do you guys think is out there? I'm always interested in hearing more. I think, I think people like Robin are incredibly insightful at Redline. Yes, obviously we have a business relationship, and he is a sponsor of this show. Just watching the guy work, the wheels are always going. And I know people say that about me, but man, I got nothing on Robin. Man, he's always cooking up something. This guy just made a white and red backpack cool at $300 selling them out. Like, it's unbelievable what he can pull off. So I like studying people like that. I like working alongside people like that. I'll be doing that this weekend in Denver. I'll be out there. I cannot wait to see you all. If you have watched an hour and 21 minutes of me flying solo, yammering on, I really, really, really appreciate it. It's been a fun show. I put a lot into it. Thanks for your dedication. Thank you for your time and diligence and supporting me. I should have mentioned that like first thing on the show. I appreciate you. I'll be back same time, same place next week with Next Level Morphs out in California. Will be on the show. Come see me in Denver or the following weekend at the Eau Claire Snake Discovery show. Thanks so much, everybody. I don't have my button ready to push. So now, thank you so much. Cheers. See you next time. Thanks all.